Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to share and subscribe the channel. Pain seared through Ka's body as consciousness clawed its way back. The sterile scent of antiseptic burned her nostrils, foreign and alarming. Her eyes fluttered open to blinding white light that made her pupils contract painfully. She was alive, which meant she had failed. The last memory before darkness claimed her had been the ambush. Her elite solar strike team had infiltrated the human military outpost to destroy their communications array. Everything had gone according to plan until the unexpected security protocols activated. Plasma fire everywhere. Her team scattered. A searing pain in her side. Then nothing. Now she lay on something soft. Her body stripped of her battle armor, dressed in thin fabric that offered no protection. Restraints bound her wrists and ankles. Vulnerable, captured. Disgrace burned hotter than her wounds. From childhood, every solar warrior learned what happened to those taken by humans. Vivisection, experimentation, torture for military intelligence. Her training officer's voice echoed in her memory: humans see us as animals, lab specimens at best, vermin at worst. They were taught that death was preferable to capture. Yet here she was, alive. A door hissed open. Kia tensed, preparing for whatever torment awaited. Instead, a solitary human male entered carrying a small electronic tablet. He was tall and lean, with skin the color of solar amber and eyes like the deep waters of her home world, a startling blue-green that momentarily caught her off guard. "You're awake," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle. "That's good. You had us worried." Kia bared her teeth, revealing the sharp canines that distinguished her species. "Save your false concern, human. Begin your torture and be done with it." The man paused, tilting his head slightly. "I'm Dr. Ali Northwood. I'm not here to harm you. I've been treating your wounds for 3 days." 3 days? Alarm shot through her. Her commander would have already reported her missing, presumed dead. No rescue would come. "You had severe plasma burns on your left side and internal bleeding. The surgery was complicated by your unique physiology, but we managed." He moved closer, checking a monitor beside her bed. Kia jerked against her restraints. "Don't touch me." Alien stopped immediately, raising his hands in a placating gesture. "I understand your fear, but I'm a doctor. I heal. I don't harm. Solari are not afraid of humans," she spat. "We know what you are. Destroyers, conquerors. You lay waste to worlds and call it progress." Something flickered across his face. Not anger, but something more complex. Sadness, perhaps. "Is that what they teach you about us?" "It's what we've witnessed for generations," Kia replied coldly. "Since your kind first breached our system." He nodded slowly. "War creates monsters of us all." He reached for something beside her bed. A cup with a straw. "Would you like some water? You must be thirsty." The unexpected offer confused her. A trick, surely, but her throat burned with thirst. When he held the straw to her lips, pride warred with necessity. Necessity won. The cool water felt like salvation against her parched throat. "Why am I restrained if you claim to mean no harm?" she challenged after drinking. "Protocol for all combatants," Alien answered honestly. "But I can loosen them if they're hurting you." Before she could respond, the facility's lights dimmed momentarily, and a distant alarm sounded. Alien frowned, moving to check a screen on the wall. "What's happening?" Kia demanded. "Power fluctuation. Happens sometimes." But his expression betrayed concern. He turned back to her, his movements now more purposeful. True to his word, he adjusted her restraints, not removing them but making them more comfortable. As he leaned over her, Kia caught his scent, clean and unexpectedly pleasant, without the harsh chemical odor most humans carried. She noticed small scars on his hands, the kind that came from years of work rather than battle. "Why help an enemy?" she asked, genuine confusion breaking through her hostility. Alien paused, his gaze meeting hers directly. "Because under all our differences, the biology, the culture, the history, we're both sentient beings who feel pain and deserve dignity." He gestured to her bandaged side. "I need to check your wound." "May I?" The question itself was startling. No Solari would ask permission of a prisoner. She gave a curt nod, watching him suspiciously as he gently lifted the edge of her bandage. His touch was clinical but careful, as if mindful of causing her additional pain. "The regeneration is proceeding well," he murmured. "Your people heal remarkably fast." "All the better to fight your kind," Kia replied. But the venom in her words had diminished slightly. Alien replaced the bandage and stepped back. "Rest is the best medicine now. I'll return later with food suitable for your metabolism." As he turned to leave, Kia called out, surprising herself. "Doctor." He paused at the door. "If you truly mean no harm, why am I here? What use am I to you?" Alien's expression softened. "You're not here to be useful. You're here to heal. What happens after that," he shrugged, "that's for minds above my pay grade to decide." The door closed behind him, leaving Kia alone with thoughts more turbulent than when she'd awakened. She had expected cruelty and received care, expected hatred and found something else entirely. For the first time since childhood, doubt crept into the foundations of everything she'd been taught about humans, and that, more than her wounds, more than her capture, terrified her. 7 days into her captivity, Kia found herself watching the clock for Ali's visits. She told herself it was tactical, gathering intelligence on enemy routines. But something deeper stirred whenever he entered the medical bay with his quiet smile. Today he arrived with a tray holding not just the nutrient supplements calibrated for her physiology, but something that made her nostrils flare with recognition. "Is that Calbury?" she asked, unable to mask her surprise. Alien nodded, setting the tray down. "I had our botanist synthesize it from your blood samples. They said it's a staple fruit on your world." Kia stared at the small purple berries, their familiar aroma unlocking memories of home. Her restraints had been reduced to a single monitor on her ankle 2 days prior, allowing her to sit up and take the offering herself. "Why?" she asked. The question that increasingly dominated her thoughts when it came to this puzzling human. "Because eating familiar foods helps healing, physically and mentally." Alien pulled up his usual chair. "Even prisoners of war deserve small comforts." "Is that what I am? A prisoner of war?" "Technically, though I prefer to think of you as a patient." Kia bit into a cowberry, the tart sweetness flooding her senses. A small pleasure she never expected to experience again. "These taste almost right." "Almost is better than nothing," Alien replied with a hint of humor. Their conversation was interrupted by the medical bay door sliding open. A uniformed human woman entered, her posture rigid with authority. Commander Vega, Kia had learned, the facility's security chief who made no attempt to hide her distrust. "Dr. Northwood, a word." It wasn't a request. Alien excused himself. Though they stepped outside, Kia's enhanced hearing caught fragments of their heated exchange. Coddling the enemy, basic humanitarian, intelligence value, ethical obligations. When Alien returned, his jaw was tight, but his manner toward her remained unchanged. "Sorry for the interruption. How are the berries?" Kia studied him. "Your commander doesn't approve of your kindness to me." Commander Vega has her priorities. I have mine. He checked her vital readings. "Your strength is returning impressively. The wound is almost fully regenerated." An uncomfortable realization settled in Kia's stomach. "Once I'm healed, I'll be transferred for interrogation." Alien didn't deny it. "I've requested you remain under medical supervision for another week. Your unique physiology requires monitoring." She recognized the lie for what it was, a reprieve he'd engineered for her. Why delay the inevitable? Before he could answer, the facility shook violently. Alarms blared as emergency lights bathed the room in pulsing red. "What's happening?" Kia demanded, instinctively reaching for weapons she no longer possessed. "I don't know." Alien rushed to the door, peering into the corridor as personnel ran past. He turned back, conflict clear on his face. "I need to help with casualties. Will you?" "I'll remain here," she interrupted, surprising herself with the promise. The next hours blurred into chaos. Explosions rocked the facility. Through the small window in her room, Kia glimpsed flashes of weapons fire. She recognized the pattern. A strategic strike, but not solar tactics. Another species altogether. When the medical bay door burst open, it wasn't alien but two armed human guards, weapons raised. "The prisoner needs to be moved," one barked. "Commander's orders." Kia tensed, calculating her chances if she fought. Weakened as she was, the odds weren't favorable. "Stand down." Alien appeared behind them, blood staining his medical uniform. "She stays under my supervision, per protocol." "Sir, the East Wing is compromised. All prisoners are being relocated to secure holding." "She's not stable enough to move," Alien insisted, stepping between Kia and the guards. "I take full responsibility." Something in his voice, the authority, the determination, made the guards hesitate long enough for Commander Vega's voice to crackle over their comms, ordering them elsewhere. When they departed, Alien secured the door and turned to Kia. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. "You're injured," she observed. "It's nothing. The attack is focused on the research wing. Some faction trying to steal technology, not a rescue mission for you, I'm afraid." The disappointment she should have felt didn't materialize. Instead, concern for Alien's safety surfaced, a traitorous emotion she immediately tried to suppress. Another explosion, closer this time, sent medical equipment crashing. The lights flickered and died, leaving only emergency illumination. "We need to move," Alien decided, grabbing a medical kit. "Not to detention, to the emergency bunker." He approached her bed, holding up a small device. "I need to remove your monitor." "I'm trusting you, Kia." The use of her name, the first time he'd spoken it, held an intimacy that momentarily stole her breath. He'd learned it from her medical data but had respectfully avoided using it until invited. That restraint spoke volumes. "Why trust me?" she asked as he deactivated the monitor. "I could overpower you and escape." Alien met her gaze steadily. "Could you?" The question hung between them, layered with meaning. Physically, despite her injuries, probably yes. But something deeper held her back, something she wasn't ready to acknowledge. When another blast rocked the facility, instinct took over. Kia pulled Alien down as debris rained from the ceiling, shielding him with her body, their faces inches apart. She found herself lost in those ocean-colored eyes, seeing not an enemy but a person, complex, brave, worthy of protection. "Now we're even," she murmured, referencing the surgery that saved her life. His smile cracked through the tension. "Not even close, but it's a start." Together they navigated the damaged corridors, Kia's combat instincts proving valuable as she spotted dangers before Alien. When they encountered wounded personnel, she found herself helping rather than exploiting their vulnerability. A choice that would have been unthinkable mere days ago. In one critical moment, she disarmed an enemy combatant who nearly ambushed Alien from behind. Standing over the unconscious attacker, weapon in hand, Kia faced a decision that would define her path forward. She handed the weapon to Alien, grip first. "I don't understand you," he said quietly as they reached the relative safety of the emergency bunker. "That makes two of us," she replied, watching as he immediately began treating the wounded gathered there. Something fundamental had shifted within her. The enemy had shown her compassion when she expected cruelty. He had offered trust when he had every reason for suspicion. And now, though escape had been possible, she had chosen to stay, to help. The realization terrified her more than any battle ever had. The days following the attack transformed Kia's status from prisoner to something undefined. Without formal authorization, she had become Alien's assistant, helping tend the wounded while reconstruction began. Her enhanced strength and quick reflexes proved valuable, and few questioned her presence at his side, though many watched with suspicion. "Hand me the tissue regenerator," Alien requested as they worked together on a burn victim. Kia passed the instrument with practiced ease. 3 weeks of observation had taught her much about human medicine, fascinated by how they compensated for their physiological limitations with technology. "Your technique has improved," he noted as they finished the procedure. "I'm a quick study," she replied. "Warriors must learn field medicine." "Is that all you are?" "A warrior." The question was gentle but probing. Kia stiffened. "It's what I was bred for. The Solari don't have the luxury of individual aspirations." "I don't believe that," Alien disposed of his gloves. "No sentient species evolves solely for combat. There must be artists, thinkers, builders among your people." The observation hit uncomfortably close to a truth the Solari government suppressed. Kia had seen dissenters reconditioned for suggesting similar ideas. Our strength ensures our survival, she recited, but the words felt hollow now. Later, in the small room she'd been allocated, no longer a cell but not quite free quarters, Alien brought her something wrapped in cloth. "What's this?" she asked, unwrapping it to reveal a book made of actual paper. "Human literature. This one's from before we discovered interstellar travel. I thought you might find it interesting, how we imagined aliens before we met them." Kia ran her fingers over the cover of The War of the Worlds. "You understood our language quickly enough. Perhaps I should learn yours, beyond the medical terminology." "I could teach you," Alien offered, sitting beside her on the small cot. "And you could teach me more about the Solari." Their study sessions became a nightly ritual, cultural exchange dressed as intelligence gathering, though both recognized the pretense for what it was, an excuse for closeness neither was ready to acknowledge. During one such session, Kia found herself sharing memories of her childhood, the rigorous training, but also rare moments of beauty, luminescent forests at dusk, musical ceremonies before battle. "It sounds beautiful," Alien mused, "your world." "Parts of it," she admitted, "before the war consumed everything." "Wars don't last forever, Kia. This one has. 3 generations of my people have known nothing else." Alien's hand rested dangerously close to hers on the table. "What would you do if there was peace?" The question stunned her. No one had ever asked what she wanted beyond victory. "I don't know." "Yes, you do," he said softly. "I've seen how you study everything, how your hands create rather than destroy when given the chance." His perception unsettled her. "You see what you want to see, human." "Alien," he corrected. "My name is Alien." The moment hung, charged between them, intimacy building in the small space that separated their bodies. The door slid open unexpectedly. Commander Vega entered, her cold gaze assessing the scene. "Fraternization, Dr. Northwood." Alien rose calmly. "Cultural exchange, Commander." "Valuable intelligence. Intelligence that should be gathered through proper channels." She turned to Kia. "The Coalition Council has requested your presence for formal questioning. A transport arrives tomorrow." Fear lanced through Kia, not of interrogation, but of separation from the one human who had shown her another way of existing. After Vega left, Alien paced the small room. "I'll appeal this. You're still under medical observation." "We both know I'm fully healed," Kia said quietly. This was always coming. That night's sleep eluded her. When her door opened in the early hours, she expected guards. Instead, Alien entered alone. "Come with me," he whispered. Quickly. He led her through darkened corridors to the facility's observatory dome, a small space where scientists studied the unfamiliar stars of this sector. Above them, the cosmos sprawled in breathtaking clarity through the transparent ceiling. Among the stars, Kia identified her home system, impossibly distant. "Why bring me here?" she asked. "Because you needed to see this." Alien stood close beside her. "The same stars shine on both our worlds, Kia. The same universe holds us all." Poetic, but irrelevant to those making war. "Is it?" He turned to face her. Every conflict in human history eventually ended with understanding, with seeing the other side as something more than enemy. His proximity awakened sensations Kia had never permitted herself to feel. The warmth radiating from his body, the rhythm of his breathing, the subtle scent that she now associated with safety rather than threat. "What am I to you?" she whispered, the question that had burned within her for weeks. Alien's hand lifted, hesitating a breath away from her face. "A revelation," he answered. "Everything I was taught about your kind, and everything I've discovered that proves it wrong." When his fingers finally made contact, tracing the subtle ridges that lined her temple, a solar feature revered for its beauty among her people, Kia closed her eyes, allowing herself this forbidden touch. "They'll say you've been compromised," she murmured. "Perhaps I have been." His forehead touched hers in a gesture of profound intimacy. "Or perhaps I've never seen more clearly." The kiss, when it came, crossed more than physical boundaries. It bridged worlds, shattered dogma, rewrote possibilities. Her hands found his hair, softer than she'd imagined during stolen moments of wondering. His arms encircled her with a gentleness that belied their strength. When they parted, breathless and transformed, The stars bore silent witness to something revolutionary in its simplicity, connection where hatred should have flourished. "What happens now?" she asked. "I don't know," Alien admitted. "But I can't let them take you tomorrow." That night, in whispered conversation beneath the watching stars, they began imagining something neither had dared before, a future where understanding might somehow triumph over generations of enmity. Dawn brought the promised transport ship and a squadron of coalition officers. Kia stood in her quarters, dressed in the simple clothes provided to her rather than the prisoner jumpsuit, a small act of dignity Alien had insisted upon. "You've been classified as a high-value intelligence asset," Commander Vega informed her coldly. "The Coalition Intelligence Division will determine your usefulness." Kia maintained the stoic demeanor expected of a solar warrior, betraying none of the turmoil within. Last night's intimacy with Alien had awakened possibilities she couldn't rebury. Questions about her people, her purpose, her future. Alien appeared in the doorway, medical kit in hand. "She requires a final examination before transport," he stated with professional detachment. "Coalition protocols for prisoner transfer." Vega's eyes narrowed, but she couldn't dispute regulations. "Make it quick, Doctor." When the door closed, leaving them in momentary privacy, Alien moved close under the pretense of checking her vital signs. "Whatever happens, remember what you've seen here," he murmured. "Not all humans want this war. And not all Solari are what humans believe," she replied softly. His fingers brushed hers as he took her pulse, the touch deliberate and lingering. "I filed official protests about your transfer, cited medical concerns. They won't work." "No, but they'll create a record. Evidence that some of us saw you as a person, not a weapon." The door slid open. Transport guards entered, restraints ready. "This patient is still under my care," Alien protested, his professional veneer cracking. "Orders from Central Command supersede local medical authority," the lead officer replied mechanically. As they secured the restraints, Kia maintained eye contact with Alien, communicating something beyond words. Not goodbye, but acknowledgement of what had grown between them. The facility suddenly shuddered. Emergency lights activated as a thunderous boom echoed through the structure. "We're under attack," Commander Vega's voice crackled over the communication system. "Solar Strike Force, all personnel to battle stations." Kia felt it before the humans. The subtle vibration pattern of solar sonic weapons. A rescue mission. The very thing she had longed for weeks ago now filled her with dread. Chaos erupted. The transport officers dragged her toward the landing bay while Alien was ordered to the medical center to prepare for casualties. Their final glance carried the weight of everything unsaid. The corridor ahead exploded inward. Through smoke and debris emerged three figures in the distinctive armor of Solar Elite Forces, her own unit. Commander Kia, the lead warrior, lowered his weapon in recognition. "We've come to extract you." The transport officers raised their weapons but were swiftly neutralized by solar stun weapons. Kia found herself suddenly free, her people surrounding her protectively. "Are you injured?" asked Tay, her second in command. "What have they done to you?" Kia struggled to reconcile the reality before her with her transformed perspective. These were her people, following their directive to leave no warrior behind. Yet all she could think about was Alien, now in danger from those she had called family. "I'm unharmed," she managed. "How did you find me?" "Long-range scanners detected your biosignature when the facility's shields faltered during the previous attack," Turk explained. "Command authorized a full extraction team. We have 10 minutes before our distraction charges no longer occupy their defense systems." They moved efficiently through the facility, encountering sporadic resistance easily overcome by Solari technology. Each unconscious human they passed increased Kia's dread. Was Alien among those injured? Near the Rendezvous point, they passed the medical center. Through the window, Kia glimpsed Alien working frantically over wounded personnel. "Safe, for now." Relief flooded her system. "Commander." Tay questioned her hesitation. "There's intelligence I must acquire," she decided suddenly. "Continue to the extraction point." "I'll join you." "Protocol demands." "That's an order, Tay." Her tone permitted no argument. When her team reluctantly advanced, Kia slipped into the medical center. Chaos masked her entrance until Alien looked up from his patient and froze. "You're escaping," he said, not a question. My unit came for me. Around them, injured personnel watched with fear and confusion as their prisoner stood free before them. Then why are you here? Alien asked, hands still applying pressure to a wound. Kia moved closer. To warn you, the northern quadrant will be targeted next. Get everyone to the southern bunkers. Confusion crossed his features. You're betraying your own tactical advantage. I'm preventing unnecessary casualties, she corrected. This isn't our war, alien. It's our ancestors, and I've seen enough to question its foundation. Understanding dawned in his eyes. He nodded to a nearby medic to take over his patient, then stepped closer to Kia. Come with me, he urged quietly. I can protect you, speak for you. We could change things from within. The offer, tempting, impossible, hung between them. Kia placed her hand against his chest, feeling the alien rhythm of his single heart. I can do more from my side, she realized. If I return with intelligence that humanizes you, that challenges our propaganda. They'll call you compromised, brainwashed. Perhaps, but some will listen. Her hand moved to his face. What we began here, it matters beyond just us. The facility rocked with another explosion. Time was running out. In a moment of reckless certainty, Kia pulled Alien to her, kissing him with the fierce passion of warfare channeled into something life-affirming instead of destructive. His arms encircled her, equally desperate, equally aware of their impossible position. This isn't goodbye, she promised against his lips. This is the beginning. Commander Vega's voice over the communication system shattered the moment. All personnel, Solarite forces concentrated in Sector 4. Converge and contain. Go, Alien urged. Change things from within. I'll do the same here. With one last touch, her forehead pressed to his in the intimate gesture they had shared beneath the stars, Kia turned and raced toward her extraction point, carrying with her not just tactical information but something far more dangerous to the status quo, hope. Bridge between stars. 3 months after her return, Kia stood before the Solar High Command, her posture perfect, her face impassive despite the gravity of her proposal. The human facility contained no superweapons, she concluded her report. Their medical technology, however, offers possibilities for treating radiation sickness affecting our outer colonies. Supreme Commander Velex leaned forward. You suggest diplomatic exchange rather than conquest after they held you prisoner. I suggest pragmatism, Kia replied carefully. We fought 3 generations with neither side gaining significant advantage. Perhaps other approaches merit consideration. Her debriefing upon return had been grueling. Weeks of interrogation, medical examinations for contamination, psychological evaluations for evidence of brainwashing. She had revealed selected truths while protecting the most dangerous one, that she had connected with a human in ways that transformed her understanding of both species. What saved her from suspicion was her impeccable service record and the tactical data she provided, genuine intelligence about coalition defenses and technology. She had been careful to share nothing that would endanger Alien directly, focusing on structural information already compromised. Commander Kia proposes heresy, General Marotte growled. Generations of Solari have died at human hands. And humans at ours, she countered. While our core worlds suffer resource depletion that military expenditure only worsens. The truth that her captivity had allowed her to see clearly, both species were exhausting themselves in a conflict whose original purpose had been obscured by hatred passed down through bloodlines. To her surprise, several younger commanders nodded agreement. Resource scarcity affected their campaign planning daily. The war's cost had become unsustainable. What exactly do you propose? Asked Velex. A limited communication channel, restricted exchange of non-military technology beginning with medical advances. She paused. I volunteer to serve as the initial contact point. The debate raged for hours after her dismissal from the chamber. Kia returned to her quarters, restored to her after weeks of supervised rehabilitation, and removed a small object from her hidden compartment. A paper book. The War of the Worlds. Alien's gift, smuggled during her extraction. Its pages had become her meditation focus. Each human word a reminder of possibility. She had learned their written language during those intimate study sessions, and now the text offered not just story but connection to him. Her communication unit chimed with an encrypted alert. Heart racing, she activated the secure channel Tay had helped her establish, her second-in-command convinced by what he'd witnessed of her treatment by humans. A text transmission appeared. Proposal received through diplomatic back channels. Coalition Council divided but considering. Medical Director advocating strongly for trial exchange. Alien. It had to be. He had done as promised, working from his side while she worked from hers. The door chimed. Kia quickly closed the communication and composed herself before granting entry. Supreme Commander Velex himself entered, an unprecedented honor that immediately put her on alert. Commander Kia, he studied her with ancient eyes that had seen the war from its beginning. The High Command has reached a decision regarding your proposal. She stood at perfect attention, betraying nothing of her inner tension. A limited diplomatic contact has been authorized, he stated, watching her closely for reaction. With conditions, the exchange will be scientific only, medical technology as you suggested, and you will indeed serve as our representative. Relief threatened to weaken her knees, but warrior discipline held her steady. I'm honored by the command's trust. Trust is not the word I would choose, Velex replied coldly. You are expendable if this proves to be a human trap. More importantly, you alone have direct experience with their medical facilities. Your unique perspective may prove valuable. The hidden meaning was clear. She was being tested as much as the diplomatic initiative. When do I depart? She asked. Immediately. A neutral station has been designated in the Cygnus Void. Both delegations will arrive simultaneously, 3 representatives each, heavily monitored. After Velex departed, Kia allowed herself one moment of pure, unconstrained emotion, pressing her hand to her chest where her dual hearts raced with something like joy. Possibility unfurled before her, delicate as the rare flowers that sometimes bloomed in solar battlefield ruins. The neutral station hung suspended in the emptiness between stars, a perfect symbolic location for what would transpire. As the solar shuttle docked, Kia felt both hearts accelerate. Her accompanying scientists, selected for both expertise and unwavering loyalty to command, checked their equipment one final time. Remember, she instructed them, observe everything. Reveal nothing beyond the approved exchange parameters. The airlock cycled. Across the sterile white conference space, the human delegation waited. 2 scientists in coalition uniforms flanked a figure Kia would have recognized across galaxies. Alien looked thinner, his face bearing new lines of stress, but his eyes, those ocean depths that had first captured her attention, widened slightly at the sight of her. Professional masks dropped into place immediately for both of them, but that momentary recognition carried volumes. Welcome to Neutral Station Cygnus, the coalition representative announced formally. We come in the interest of scientific exchange, as agreed upon by both governments. Kia stepped forward as delegation leader. The Solar High Command acknowledges this limited cooperation initiative. We bring medical technologies as specified in the diplomatic arrangement. The formalities proceeded with excruciating slowness. Equipment scanned for weapons. Terms reviewed, boundaries established. Throughout, Kia and Alien maintained perfect professional distance, their interaction visible to observers on both home worlds. Only when the scientists became engrossed in their technical exchange did Alien manage to position himself near her at the refreshment station. Commander Kia, isn't it? He asked for the benefit of listening devices. I believe we met under less favorable circumstances. Dr. Northwood, she acknowledged with appropriate coolness. Your medical facility was instructive, as was your presence there. He passed her a data tablet, ostensibly containing research abstracts, their fingers brushed deliberately, briefly. Page 17 contains particularly relevant cross-species applications. Later, alone in her temporary quarters, Kia accessed the highlighted page. Hidden beneath technical jargon was an encrypted message using the cipher they had practiced during language lessons. Third maintenance corridor. 2 o'clock hours. Security loop created. Madness. Discovery would mean disgrace, possibly execution for both of them. Yet at the appointed time, Kia found herself navigating the dimly lit passage, every sense alert for danger. The maintenance alcove provided just enough space for privacy when Alien appeared, immediately folding her in an embrace that broke every protocol and crossed every boundary. You did it, he whispered against her hair. When the proposal came through channels, I knew it had to be you. And you made them listen, she replied, drawing back to memorize his face anew. New evidence, data showing the war's unsustainability, and quiet allies, those who have lost too much to believe victory justifies further sacrifice. His hands framed her face with reverent care, tracing the distinctive ridges that lined her temples. Every day I feared they'd discovered your changed perspective, that I'd never see you again. There were challenges, she admitted, but what I learned from you proved useful in ways my superiors couldn't ignore. The stolen moments stretched precious and dangerous between them. When their lips finally met, it carried the weight of star systems and generations, the forbidden connection that might, impossibly, begin healing ancient wounds. This exchange program, Alien murmured, it's just the beginning, if it succeeds. If we make it succeed, others will follow, his forehead pressed against hers in their private gesture of connection. It won't be easy. There's too much hatred, too much history. But we've proven it's possible, Kia replied, her hands finding his with certainty despite the darkness. One connection at a time. In that hidden alcove between worlds, surrounded by the cold vacuum of space and the colder politics of ancient enemies, something fragile and powerful took root. Something that neither Solari nor human high commands had calculated in their strategic assessments, hope sparked by understanding, peace kindled by compassion, love defying generations of hatred, and two individuals once conditioned to destroy each other now standing as a living bridge between stars. Their forbidden bond, the first thread in what might someday become a tapestry of connection between worlds. When the diplomatic exchange ended a week later, both delegations returned to their respective territories, bearing medical technologies that would save countless lives on both sides. More importantly, they carried proof that cooperation yielded benefits war never could. As Kia's shuttle pulled away from the station, she watched Alien's vessel do the same in the opposite direction. Distance growing between them once more. Yet the connection remained, stronger for having been tested, precious for being rare. On her data tablet, one final encrypted message from him glowed, until the next exchange, every ending is just the space between chapters. She closed her eyes, allowing herself one private smile before returning to the demanding role of warrior turned diplomat. Their story, like the greater story of their peoples, was far from finished. The war had made them enemies. Compassion had made them equals. Understanding had made them allies. And love, against all odds, against all teaching, had made them hope.